ANEC Sports presents a Frick Media Productions, created by the founder and editor at the ANEC Network, Sam Frick. This is the opening drive. Hello, folks. This is Sam Frick here for this latest episode of the opening drive. My name is Sam Frick, founder editor at ANEC Sports, covering schools across Northeast Indiana, Elkhart County, and the good folks down in Marion, Indiana. This is an audio portion for this emergency episode of the opening drive. We'll have another episode to preview what's come for the sectional semifinals across the ANEC area, which includes the start of 5A and 6A state tournament for high school football, as we will look into the semifinal matchups across the area and whatnot. So, for this particular episode, this is going to be a shorter episode than what you're normally going to see here. It's going to be an audio episode, so please make sure that you have your ears open and listen carefully, for what should be an entertaining episode. Grant Shouse and I were able to arrange a date to come in person on Monday nights at just outside the Gate Center in Purdue Fort Wayne. He actually said to me he was going to the men's basketball exhibition game between Purdue Fort Wayne and Ball State, which by the time you see this episode drop on our YouTube page, obviously the game would already end by that point. So we obviously arranged a date to come before the men's basketball game tips off between Ball State and Purdue Fort Wayne. We're here to recap the Eastbrook game that everybody's talking about, and rightfully so. It's been viral all across social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram. Everybody's talking about this game. Even people who have no association with Indiana, no association with the area, no association with high school sports, nothing. They're talking about this game, right? And rightfully so. It's one of the greatest comebacks in the history of IHSA tournament football. And anytime you're down 8 points with 4 seconds left, and it took let's say a miracle drive, just to put it lightly, an untimed down, a Hail Mary from 42 yards out, an overtime session that needed a comeback win, all that to add it to the fact it's a conference rival on the road. You can't ask for a better ending than that. So here is my interview with Grant Shouse from Action Sports Network. If you know Grant Shouse, you know he covers football, he covers basketball, he covers all sports across areas of Marion, and Madison County, and Wabash County, north central part of the state, just north of Indy, about an hour or so north of Indy. And obviously they cover the Marion area very well, and he's been on the coverage of Eastbrook football all season long. And we talked about going the season how Eastbrook had the opportunity to win the conference. Spoiler, they did. And now they're in the sectional 2A36, one of the hardest sectionals in the states. And going into the state tournament, you had Eastbrook and Alexandria and Rochester and Tipton and Eastern Greentown. And so far, everybody except Alexandria has advanced. And later on in the episode, you'll hear, we will briefly preview the second semifinal match between Eastbrook and Rochester. I'll talk more in depth about it in our actual full traditional episode of the opening drive. We'll actually break down sectional 36 and what is to come for that sectional, as well as all the other sectionals in our area as well. So I guess now we're into the transition period of the episode here, so I will go ahead and turn loose to my interview with Grant Shouse. And as always, please make sure you like this video, because whenever you like videos, it obviously gives YouTube this recommendation phase to tell people to view our videos, view our content, and like our page. So please make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe to our ANEC Sports YouTube page, and let people know that ANEC Sports is on YouTube. Let people know that are starting to figure out we have expanded to other parts of the state. We've expanded to Marion. We've expanded to Elkhart. We've expanded all of Fort Wayne. We want people to know that ANEC Sports is one of the top places in all of Indiana for high school coverage. So, without further ado, here is Grant Shouse. I am Sam Frick here from ANEC Sports. Joining me is the great Grant Shouse from Action Sports Network. We're actually here just outside the Gate Sports Center at Purdue University Fort Wayne, as we are here to discuss some high school football from last week, and we'll talk about that one specific game in a matter of moments. But just give me 1 minute recapping what took place last week in the first round of sectionals.
Well, I mean, it may be tough to give you a whole minute here. There was what felt like 4 seconds of game time was about 10, 12 minutes. But just, quickly to recap it for you, Eastbrook season was essentially over. We had counted them out. Their season ending at 9-1 on the year. It looked like it was going to be a crushing loss after what was a great regular season. They dominated all the way through, and Alexandria just got them on a better night. And, on 4th and 8, Brady Gass, the quarterback for Alexandria, dropped back to pass, threw an incomplete pass. Actually, threw it really nowhere near a receiver. I think he just got rid of it, and he throws it away. Eastbrook gets the ball, and we're like, well, they're going to need one of those lateral plays here, and you're just not so sure if Eastbrook really has that in in their arsenal. So they start running lateral. They actually got away. I mean, it's no secret now. This is what I was telling Greg, is that it's no secret now. They got away with a forward lateral pass. A forwards pass that a flag should have been thrown on that play, and they refs missed that one. Bodie Howell got it, kind of scampered, and as he's weaving his way through, I start to notice, like, okay, he's got room here, but I'm like, okay, they're going to get him here. Then he keeps going. I'm like, okay, they got him here. Keeps going. Finally gets through about the second level of the defense that's back, covering this play, and he breaks all the way through and goes down and scores. And if you've heard my call, if you were listening, if you've seen me post it or anything else, it was just unbelievable. We couldn't believe it. And then the kind of, just like a player. You get emotionally invested into these games, and when you saw that there was a flag, you didn't realize that the game was going to continue. We were not very clear on the rule. Eastbrook was given an untimed down after a block in the back penalty, and Eastbrook had only completed maybe 4 or 5 passes the entire night. They're not a pass-oriented team, and Bodie Howell threw the throw of his life, had Matthew Slater in the end zone there, and he was right there for the touchdown, and they ended up, scoring and going for 2, send it to overtime. Sam, they needed 3 miracles, and they got them. They needed 3 of them. They really needed like 4 or 5. They go for 2 and get the 2. It goes to overtime. And Alexandria's offense is just so efficient. Their playbook runs so deep that they run a little reverse kind of on a pitch play for their wide receiver to score to start overtime, and they hit the extra point. And we're asking ourselves, Eastbrook, who is now trailing again in overtime, if they have momentum. They had momentum. If they go for 2, or you think they kick it to tie the game. Well, 2 plays into their drive, Bodie Howell scores again for a touchdown. That was his 4th of the game. He scored 4 touchdowns. And then they go for and they roll the dice. They go for 2, and Howell got in the end zone again, and they end up winning the game 37-36. Again, like I said, the season was over. They were down to their last miracle, and they got about 3 or 4 of them. Football gods were nice to them.
Yeah, I know Eastbrook's called the Panthers, but it's like a cat having 9 lives, but instead they had like 5 lives, basically.
Right.
It's like it kept going and going. You think it's over, and it's like, oh, they're back. And so, when that first play happened, before the actual touchdown to actually tie the game and whatnot, or set up the tying game, what was your initial reaction when the whole chaos ensued?
Just honestly a lot of confusion, I think. There's, because we were not clear on the rule, like that there'd be an untimed down. So you never see that. So we shouldn't do this. You should never assume on anything. But we basically thought the game was over, and that Eastbrook was not going to get a chance. And they had the officials actually got together and made the discussion that there would be an untimed down. Now, there's 2 other media outlets there, and I'm not going to call them out because they both, at least one of them, I know one of them does a really good job, the other doesn't. And they're both saying there should not be an untimed down, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, but the game can't end on a penalty. Like it doesn't matter who it's on. The game cannot end on a penalty. So afterwards, we got the ruling, and the officials did make the correct call. There's still going to be people to this day tell you that they did not make the correct call, but they did. And again, just a lot of confusion. But honestly, a lot of what you were feeling was kind of like Eastbrook just deflated a little bit. We're a little more partial to Eastbrook. They're one of the schools that we cover more to an extent than we do Alexandria. Mm-hmm. And so, you feel a little deflated from it. But at the same time, you almost got to think of it like you're a player. Next play, just got to make, they just got to make the next play, and they did. So that's really what's going through our heads.
Even from a neutral standpoint, I can't imagine what the Alexandria people are thinking even coming out of that game. It's got to be heartbreaking just thinking you had to win, and then it's like, oh, no, we did not win the game. So on both sides, you got to imagine there's a swing of emotions there. So obviously, we want to fast forward to double overtime. Odie Howe gets the touchdown. He verts for 2, gets the winner. What is going in your mind when that happened?
Just it's simple, unbelievable. I mean, again, like we really said the season was over. I mean, the season was over, and to do what they did, scoring on the lateral play and it gets called back, and then having to throw the 42-yard Hail Mary to the end zone, and I mean, just unbelievable. But I kind of thought in my mind personally that when the game went to overtime, Eastbrook was not losing. I mean, you just kind of thought there was no way that they did all that to lose this game in overtime. Virtually, I know Alexandria had the lead in overtime at one point, but you kind of thought to yourself, they have no shot here. And that's no disrespect to them. Eastbrook just, we like to say they had Uncle Mo on their side, Uncle Momentum. So, and that's what that's what I believed. And, there wasn't a thought in my mind that really crossed when the game went to overtime that Eastbrook was going to lose. And we asked Jeff Adamson after the game, we said, have you ever seen anything like this? And he goes, well, in typical Jeff Adamson fashion, he told us on the one play it almost worked for him in 2012. So, when you've been coaching for 37 years like he has, you tend to think you've seen it all, but there's no way he's seen what he saw Friday. So
I have a hard time finding another play like this. I mean, there was a play from
at any level.
Yeah, I mean, just last year there was similar. I mean, it was a return. It was a field goal. It was blocked, but it was a live ball. The Columbia State player picks it up. Nobody's seen the ball. They thought it was over. He gets the touchdown, but the whistle blown. You saw that, right? The whistle was blown before he got the end zone, so they had to put an untimed down. No kid, just an untimed down, and they got a touchdown pass right at the end of the game, just the last play of the game, to win it by 3 points. So that was the closest thing I can recall. So now you come out of this game, there's all this hype. It's being spread all over social media. Hundreds of thousands of people are viewing it. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on X. Pat McAfee just talked about it just this afternoon on his network, right? It's on ESPN. Everybody's talking about it. SportsCenter's talking about it. It's the Miracle at Alexandria. That's only the round 1 of sectionals, Grant. How do you transition from that emotional roller coaster to a game at Rochester coming up on Friday, and they're 9-1, and they just won the Three Rivers Conference with a wing T offense and the best scoring defense in program history?
I mean, you just laid it all out there, right there, I guess. Coach Adamson told us before that game that if they win the sectional, they'll certainly have deserved it. And and you don't want to be bulletin board, but I hope some Eastbrook people hear this. I have no problem telling this to Coach Adamson when I talked to him this week, is that, you don't want there to be a little bit of a hangover on Friday. Eastbrook's got a shot. I truly do think they're going to win that game, but they have got to come out and put last Friday in the rearview mirror. I'm an Indiana football fan, so the impact that Kirk Signetti's had in talking about how, you make a play, you move on, it's the next play. Hey, it was great and everything, but we got to go make another play like that. It's the same thing. It applies to all levels of football. And Eastbrook is a well-coached enough team. They're a well-rounded team to where I think they'll be able to do that no problem. But that Rochester game is not going to be easy. They have athletes. They're big. They know where the weight room is. I personally have not seen them on film, just from talking to other coaches and stuff, that it's going to be a challenge for Eastbrook, but I think they got the horses to run with them.
Yeah, I talked to Val Saussure back in week 9. We were previewing the matchup against McConaughey, and he talked about this is a very connected group at Rochester, very experienced team, and you get Brant Beck, a really good running back for them. They rushed for over 1,000, almost 2,000 yards rushing, so they're really good up front. So it's going to be a battle up front for sure. You can't fall behind against this Rochester team. I mean, they're going to pound you. You just can't fall too far behind against this team. He's got to bend and break, not break defensively and whatnot, and the turnovers are going to be key here as well. But even look at the sectional. Eastern Greentown Tipton's on the other side of the bracket Alexandria, you're going to have a good matchup even coming out of this week, right? So if you win that game, you're still going to have to play Eastern Greenton, who just won the sectional last year, and then you got to play or Tipton, not a bad Hoosier Conference team as well. So pretty good competition nonetheless. Last question here, and this is going to be kind of shifting over to basketball because this is a basketball game here right now at Purdue-Fort Wayne. You're a basketball guy. I'm a basketball guy. College is tipping off right now throughout the country. Men's college basketball, women's college hoops, high school hoops start next week for the girls. Boys not too far after that. What are you most looking forward to with this college season? Because that last year was a wide open college season and whatnot. Basketball in Indiana is just something different. You just don't see it in any other state other than Indiana.
Well, the approach I think I'm taking to it is just the fact of, the basketball season gets long, and for me, following, high school and college with, doing radio and then, doing a little kind of my own journalism on the side for basically a hobby. You gotta be able to cram a lot of things into between basically starting tonight, this week, and until the national championship game on April 6th in Indianapolis. So, there's going to be a lot, I think, to look forward to. I'll say this, and this kills me to say this. I do think we will see a national champion come out of the Big Ten this year in Purdue. I'm just going to make the bold statement right now. But just so you know, I've never picked a national champion correct, so maybe that's why I'm picking them. That's a joke, by the way. Okay, now you laugh.
Yeah.
But, it's going to be a busy season. For me personally, the goal last year was to hit 40 college basketball games, including, all in all levels, including exhibition games, and I hit 35. So I was short of my goal last year. So that goal still sits at 40 for this year, and it starts tonight with Purdue-Fort Wayne and Ball State. And, I'm glad we were able to get here and hook up and, have a conversation because there's been some crazy things that happen. But I do want to go back real quick. This is kind of off the subject of the question just asked. It's more of a statement, I guess, is that Pat McAfee talking about Bodie Howe and what Eastbrook did on there. I don't like to boast. I don't brag. I try not to. Mm-hmm. But he not knowingly mentioned me on his show today.
Huh.
Did you see that?
No.
He said, he goes, see, the tape we got was from the Alexandria announcers. It goes, but in the background, you can hear the Eastbrook announcer bonkers.
There's that crazy guy in the background. He's going bananas. I'm sure that's what they're thinking right now.
Oh, dude. It was hilarious. And
I knew that was you the moment I heard it. I was like, that is definitely Grant's. And that's why I had to get this hooked up.
Yeah, and I'll send you the full version of the audio I got. Right? I'll send it to you after this if you remind me. And it's something to be proud of, like as a broadcaster, like you're proud of that moment because you're linked to that forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now the video that's going viral, it wasn't directly me talking, but you can hear me again going bonkers in the background of it.
Right.
But just a cool experience this past few days. I've been getting texts from people that have no affiliation to Eastbrook or Alexandria. Mm-hmm. Really, people all over asking me about it.
Yeah.
It's fun to get to share those kind of stories. That's why I think high school sports and especially in a smaller state, smaller level, it is real special to a lot of people, and it's real special to share what goes on and that kind of thing. So, back to your basketball question, it's going to be a good basketball season. It's been a great football season for me. Had seen some great games this year on the gridiron. Looking forward to seeing some good basketball, games. The Colts are rolling. Indiana football's rolling. Just a great time to be a sports fan in the Hoosier State.
Oh, it's been a special time for the state of Indiana as a whole and whatnot. It's just, high school, college, professional level. Everybody's talking about Indiana right now, and I think that's what makes it. It's remarkable right now. And I'm the college season. I'm just hoping for an amazing college season, no matter what happens and whatnot. Just keeping things as neutral as possible. But Grant, thank you for taking your time to talk about some football, a little bit of basketball in between. We hope to follow you along throughout the basketball season, keep you touched and posted on things going on in your area for basketball throughout the high school season.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.